Mother Eartha. Um, some you might already know. I tell stories, and sometimes I just talk about stuff. Anyhow, I have received an email from Ginger in Tulsa. Hi, Ginger in Tulsa. She writes, so I enjoy Mother Eartha talking about love and addressing the word ugly too. Right good reminder of some things. Well, one thing Mother Eartha may consider talking about is how to be okay when you're not okay with yourself. Well, Ginger, and thank you for your suggestion. I have to say that's a mighty deep subject to ponder on. It's one of them topics that has lots of parts and layers. Folks can have all manner of opinions on such a big wondering. Well, I'd love to announce that I have the perfect solution to this problem, but all I can do is put some Mother Earth logic into practice and offer my opinion, which, by the way, is not any better than anyone else's. Well, I'll start by sharing something personal. When I was 6 years old, my first grade teacher said out loud during quiet time when us kids was just drawing pictures that I had to put my name on the chalkboard. Now, this was a terrible thing. It meant I had done something bad and I had to stay after school to find out what it was. Well, I tell you, all these years later, I can still feel the shock and pain like it happened yesterday. All I could do was put my little old head down and let silent tears drip onto my desk. The boy next to me, he put a tender little hand on my shoulder to comfort me, and I'll always remember that too. Well, when the bell rang, as everyone else was leaving, I sat in a shrunk up, shivering mess, waiting for whatever was going to befall me. I had not a clue what. Well, my teacher, Mrs. Wall, came over to me in a huff, her mouth all screwed up tight, and started lecturing me on the proper way to sit when a guest was speaking. Well, I guess she could see I still had no idea what she was talking about. So she further explained that while the supervisor who had come to talk to the class about something was a-talking, I, sitting on the front row, was playing with my ears, moving them back and forth. Well, I got a really good tongue lashing for my disrespect and was dismissed to go home and think over my behavior. I was so ashamed of myself, I don't think I told anyone. So the silent hurt dug in deep and took root and kept reminding me through the years that I was, first and foremost, an unacceptable doofus. Well, now you can laugh and say this was just a silly thing that one adult did to a 6-year-old, and you can also argue that the adult was probably under pressure to perform for the supervisor and show what a good class she had, and one little girl on the front row, wiggling her ears back and forth, blew the chance to prove herself. Now, all those things are true, and years after I was a grown-up myself, I could recall the whole thing from that grown-up perspective. But here's the thing. The little girl never got over it. It was a moment that set the tone for a lifetime of second-guessing, wondering about how much social grace is enough, wondering why she was always doing the wrong thing, even if absent-mindedly and without a speck of malice. She could never be good enough because apparently she had a deficiency of some kind, something missing that came naturally to others, but that prevented her from knowing what good enough meant. In her mind, she was clearly a misfit, and likely always would be. But the truth is, the little girl is not in charge, and what she thinks doesn't matter anymore. Here's what the grown-up me thinks. For all those who had rough childhoods, who were often told they were worthless or never going to amount to anything, for all those who were born believing they had obligations to perfection to achieve, whatever that means, for those who lived badly and then repented but can't get rid of the guilt, forever fearing that was just too bad to deserve to be saved. I think what we have here mostly is the old devil poking at us and making us miserable so as to rob folks of their joy. Joy is different from happiness, you know. Happiness is a simple human experience. It can come and go, it can be caused by things and moments. But joy is a complex spiritual condition that hangs with you, even in troubled times. It comes from knowing that no matter what, God thinks you're okay. And if you are paying attention, God lets you know when you step out of line. But like our dearest parent, He does it to help us grow in Him, not to keep us in a constant state of questioning whether we're good enough. Here's a flash. We are not and never will be good enough, but He is. You might not have thought of it this way, but Satan is the original grudge bearer. If he can't have you one way, he'll do whatever he can to render you useless to God. Keeping us focused on whether we are good enough or not keeps us from just being who we are, whatever that might be, as a willing tool for God's good purpose. You see, God's idea of perfect and useful is hardly ever like what the world thinks. If we are saved by the shed blood of Christ, our imperfections, failures, missteps, human emotions, fears, weaknesses, and insufficiencies are just spokes. Christ in us is the hub, and He uses everything we are to make the wheel move according to His will. Now, a good man of God by the name of Vance Havner once said, "It is all Jesus. Why not start at center and work out instead of starting on the circumference and working in? By Him all things consist. Stand at the hub, and all the spokes are yours." Well, I guess that's all I gotta say. Till next time.